Jake had always loved hiking. The dense forests near his small town provided a perfect escape from his everyday life. One chilly autumn afternoon, he decided to explore a new trail he had heard about. It was said to be beautiful but seldom used. The locals whispered about strange happenings there, but Jake dismissed them as mere legends. He set out with a backpack, a map, and a flashlight, just in case. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows through the trees. The trail was narrow and winding, leading deeper into the heart of the forest. As he walked, Jake felt a sense of unease. The forest was eerily quiet, with only the crunch of leaves under his boots breaking the silence. After about an hour of hiking, Jake noticed something strange. The trees around him were marked with odd symbols, carved deep into the bark. He had never seen anything like them before. The symbols gave him an uneasy feeling, but he pressed on, curious to see where the trail led. As dusk turned to night, Jake realized he had lost his way. The path had become less clear, and his map was no help in the dim light. He pulled out his flashlight and continued, hoping to find a recognizable landmark. The silence of the forest was now oppressive, and he felt as though he was being watched. Suddenly, Jake heard a rustling sound behind him. He spun around, shining his flashlight into the darkness, but saw nothing. Probably just an animal, he muttered to himself, trying to shake off his fear. But as he continued walking, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. He came to a small clearing and saw an old, abandoned cabin. The wood was weathered, and the windows were broken. It looked like it had been deserted for years. Feeling both curious and uneasy, Jake approached the cabin. The door creaked loudly as he pushed it open and stepped inside. The cabin was dark and cold. Jake shone his flashlight around and saw old furniture covered in dust and cobwebs. On a table in the corner, he noticed a stack of yellowed papers. He picked them up and saw that they were diary entries, dated decades ago. As he read, a chill ran down his spine. The diary belonged to a man named Thomas, who had lived in the cabin long ago. Thomas wrote about strange occurrences in the forest, mysterious lights, eerie sounds, and a feeling of being watched. He mentioned seeing a shadowy figure that seemed to follow him everywhere. The last entry was particularly disturbing. "The shadow is here. It won't let me leave. If anyone finds this, beware the woods. The shadow is real." Jake felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. He needed to get out of the cabin and find his way back to the main trail. As he turned to leave, he heard the rustling sound again, this time closer. His heart raced as he stepped outside, scanning the darkness with his flashlight. The beam of light fell on a figure standing at the edge of the clearing. It was tall and shrouded in shadows. Jake's breath caught in his throat as the figure began to move towards him, slowly and deliberately. He stumbled back, his flashlight flickering. Panic set in, and Jake turned and ran. He sprinted through the forest, not caring about the path, just desperate to get away. The branches scratched at his face and arms, and he nearly tripped several times. Behind him, he could hear the figure pursuing him, its footsteps unnaturally loud in the quiet night. He ran until his lungs burned, and his legs felt like lead. Finally, he saw the faint glow of streetlights through the trees. He burst out of the forest and onto a road, collapsing in exhaustion. Looking back, he saw no sign of the shadowy figure. A passing driver stopped and helped Jake, who was too shaken to explain what had happened. The next day, he returned to the forest with a group of friends, determined to find the cabin again. But no matter how hard they searched, they found no trace of it. The symbols on the trees were gone, and the trail seemed different, almost as if it had never been there. Jake never went hiking alone again. The diary and the shadowy figure haunted his dreams. He knew that the legends were true, and that some mysteries are best left unexplored. The forest kept its secrets well, and Jake was thankful to have escaped with his life. The shadow in the woods was real, and it still lingered, waiting for its next victim.